this journey first began, I was searching for God, doing a documentary. And then when I approach people, some people, in South Carolina, a lot of people, the minute you say God, it's Jesus, like, because they
Right.
think God and Jesus are the same thing, although there's different beliefs in the world. That's not what I meant. To me, it's more like a creator, higher consciousness. It's
Hmm.
more like, connection to the higher consciousness kind of thing.
Right.
So when that didn't work, and a lot of people, producers are like, oh, I'm an atheist, and they just, they're like, no, I'm an atheist, I don't want this project. So I'm like, doesn't matter, because there's a scientific angle to it too. But then I thought I'm gonna change it to goddess, because I started, my feminist side started to wake up in me, the women empowerment and speaking up for women, especially in the film world. So then I decided to do goddess. And but I kind of also met the mother nature, because my documentary is also going to be very environmentalist issues, has to do with global warming and climate change and all of that. And interesting, you start a path and people start coming your way, you
Hmm.
start finding
Hmm.
things, like it's almost like universe hears you. I remember I attended a thing years ago, like a spiritual kind of thing, and they told us universe applause action. So when you get on action,
Synchronicity.
yes, universe starts helping you somehow. I made this book, the goddess. There's apparently a bunch of goddesses. Like, I'm not the only goddess. I'm not like, hey, I'm the woman Jesus or anything. It's kind of like embracing women with their smart and strength and beauty. Women like embracing her spiritual sides. Yes, we do have some spiritual talents. Yes, women have some healing powers. Yes, we have some nurturing powers. And
Mhm.
since a lot of women were burnt as witches in the past, everybody got scared of it, and we've been in denial since then. Because what happened in the past, when you had powers, you were either coded as crazy and they would lock you up in a mental institution, or they would say, oh, she's a witch and burn you, or they would like throw you in the river. So
Right.
yes, because of all of that, women were like, okay, you just be a wife and be beautiful, be a wife, and you can have a little job on the side, but be a mom, and you are someone who accomplished everything, all of that, like check, 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 check.
Yeah.
Because you have like 7 kids, right?
Yep. 7 children.
It's Snow White and 7 dwarfs, pretty much.
Hmm.
Real
One
Snow
for each day of the week.
White. Incredible. I mean, I'm hardly getting by here with 2 cats. Congratulations on that. So
Thank
anyway, I'll
you.
let you introduce yourself. My question, my topic today is,
Hmm.
I want to tell the world it doesn't have to be either science or religion. It doesn't have to be faith or uh,
Hmm.
science. Let's say I'm sick. I do go get medicine. I've
Hmm.
used drugs. I mean like pharmaceutical
Healing drugs. Yes.
healing drugs. Like I get
Mhm.
cold, I do go get CVS pharmacy, get myself some over the counter. If I'm really sick, I did use antibiotics. My mom
Right.
vaccinated me of everything. And I'm
Right.
not anti-vaccine as long as it's proven that it works, because
Safe.
I hardly get sick, knock on wood. I have a good immune system.
Mhm.
So somehow those vaccines worked on me fine. And
Right.
I vaccinated my pets, who are like my kids right now. But anyway, but at the same time, I believe there is also power in energies. There's
Hmm.
can heal yourself. And I read a lot about this for my documentary, that people with their minds and energies are able to heal themselves and others. And I've
Yeah.
been practicing on that. I want to learn more about theta healing, I heard. I might get into that more. But
Hmm.
anyway, I talk too much. I got to get
Oh,
better at cutting myself short. Now
yeah.
I'm going to ask you, I know your husband had a little bit of a health issues right now. You can tell about that or others. And also you can tell about your story, how you turned yourself into a beautiful goddess, because I know you have that story with your husband. Please feel free to tell everything, what you think about
Okay.
that.
Well, what's interesting about me is that I come from a background, a medical background. I'm actually a registered nurse. So I do have an education on the scientific side of things and how to treat things from a medical standpoint, um, as well as preventative care. Um, I've always had a root in the spiritual world, being raised in a very confusing household. My father was raised Catholic, but then actually gave up his religion when his mother died when he was 13 years old, and he began questioning things and having his own existential crises at a very young age. And he turned to spiritualism at that point. So my mother, on the other hand, was raised in the Jewish tradition. So they ended up marrying, and I ended up growing up being introduced to pretty much every kind of religion out there. We celebrated all holidays, but we never did attend services at any particular church or temple or anything like that. But we did it more as a family tradition. But my father taught me spiritualism from a very young age and taught me how to meditate. And at that time, he was more into transcendental meditation. But that always stuck with me throughout my whole life. And then, you know, fast forward many years later, I'm married, relocated from Massachusetts down to South Carolina. My husband is now working as a pharmacist, and I'm now a stay-at-home nurse with lots and lots of babies. And we went through our own existential crises several years ago, my husband in particular, where, you know, we're raised in this construct of a society where we're taught that, you know, you need to attain all these things, you need to get your education, you need to find the right job to make so much money, have so many kids, buy a house, and then you end up, you know, acquiring all these things that you're told that you do all of these things and you will be happy.
Mhm.
And then you do and achieve all of those things, but somehow the happiness is just not there. And you begin questioning things that, you know, you were raised with, or your life is just kind of surrounded about, and you're thinking, well, why am I doing all this? And it's not really bringing me this happiness. Well, what is this all about, really? And so that began a major shift for my husband particularly. And of course, I do everything that he does. So because we are the best of friends, as well as a lovely couple. So anyway, we delved in deep into every kind of ancient Eastern tradition, all different religions and philosophies and psychologies and sciences that we could use to try to resolve this existential crisis. And what happened is we kept coming back to Buddhism again and again and again. And as we were both somewhat very naive to what Buddhism was actually about. Both my husband and I were under this misconception, just pure ignorantly, that we thought the Buddha was a god. We had no idea that he is not a god. We had no idea, really. We just thought it was all about nature and love and compassion, and that's it. So we educated ourselves and started reading and reading and reading. And as we began to learn about it, it came to be that we realized we both had been Buddhists all our life and just never even knew it. And we're talking Buddhist philosophy and not the world religion that it has become in current day, because things have been changed very much since the Buddha was around over 2,600 years ago. And things weren't even written down from his teachings until about 500 years after his death. So just to give you an idea. But anyway, so that's led to practicing Buddhist meditation, which there's a major scientific connection there. You have the connection of what we would call mindfulness meditation and the practice of mindfulness that carries over off of the cushion as well. And now there's all sorts of science out there, studies that have been done that show, due to a process in the brain called neuroplasticity, we actually have the ability to change the structure and function of our brains so that we can become less reactive and more skillful in our day-to-day life, in how we look at the world, how we react to things, and how we overall live. And this allows us to along with many other steps of the path, this allows us to just overall be much more at peace, joyful, and content in our everyday lives, as well as much more understanding and compassionate and loving to all beings. And so it has been transformative for both my husband, myself, and my entire family. And it resonated so much with us that we became certified mindfulness meditation teachers and instructors of core Buddhist philosophy. And we started a nonprofit to work under and help grow so that we could relay these teachings to others and allow, because anybody can use it regardless. There's no belief system. It's just a philosophy. And anyone, regardless of what their beliefs are, can use it and do the work and walk a path and find that peace and contentment within their life and be able to see the world and our interconnectedness and see the impermanence of all things and be able to live their life much less reactive, much more happy, to basically achieve an awakening or an enlightenment within this lifetime. It's very possible.
Question. So in terms of healing, as we're living in the world of a pandemic right now, like how do you think people can combine the spirituality with the science? One example I'll give. So there's this global peace meditations. I don't know if you heard it, but there has been events where people all over the world meet at the same time.
Yep.
You close your eyes, you meditate spiritually, and I've seen it. Like I did that meditation and I've seen like people surrounded around a pool of light.
Right.
And we did a meditation for healing. And I remember, I'll never forget the first time I tried it. Next day, I'm looking at news. The numbers in New York and New Jersey dropped. It could be a coincidence. But
it could be, but I have heard of that. And there's been a lot of evidence, scientific evidence of the interconnectedness. I mean, we could get way into the whole thing about interdependence and how all things are interconnected and there is no intrinsic existence of any one thing. We are all connected. And so when you take a large scale event like that of people all around the world, I mean, there's been other incidences like that where they've measured, actual energy amounts on one side of the world versus the other that are happening at the same time. That's pretty scientifically based. So, I do believe in a global energy. And when you're meditating with people at the same time and concentrating on the same thing with people all around the world or in different locations or even just in the same room with you, it can definitely generate a lot of positive energy, which that positive energy is only going to lead towards healing. Definitely. And in our meditations, we do many kind of healing meditations and focusing on areas of our body that may be ill or in pain. There's an excellent author, Shinzen Young, who has done a great series on meditating on pain and helping to alleviate pain and rewire the brain not to look at the pain in the same way and experience it in the same way. And that's part of the whole
meditation to people who don't know what it is exactly. Like, why should you be doing meditation? What is meditation?
Everybody should be meditating because it is the one thing that will help people to decrease their habitual reactivity by being aware of everything that is happening. It's not about zoning out. It's not about escaping to a different place. It's about being completely present, being extremely good at paying attention to everything. And by doing it, it's so simple, just, focusing on the breath, redirecting, allowing your thoughts to be what they are, watching what your thoughts are, but not engaging with them. So you start to understand and learn the thought patterns that happen. And the better you get at it, the more you're redirecting. That's rewiring your brain, and it works. It is scientifically proven that it works, and it will allow you to create a gap between stimulus and your response so that you have time to choose a more skillful or wise reaction or an action versus a reaction, more like a response. You have time to respond as opposed to just react immediately. We're all driven to just, habitually like react. Somebody cuts us off while we're driving on the highway. What do? We get angry immediately, but we don't really understand what the situation is. It could be that person's on the way to the hospital for a sick child, and that would change your perception of the situation and change your emotional reaction from anger to, oh, wow, we better make way so he can go, but you never really know what's going on. So the point is to be able to just be with those incidences when they happen and not assign meaning to them, not create a story about it. Just allow it to be what it is and be acceptance of it, just have an acceptance of it for what it is, and not allow yourself to have an emotional reaction to it. So it's, you don't have to know what's going on all the time. It's okay to just be with things as they are and to stay in the now. That's the other big aspect of it. Mm-hmm. When we're having thoughts of anxiety, it's because we're thinking about things in the future. When we're having thoughts of depression or sadness, it's because we're ruminating on things that happened in the past. But if you keep yourself in the now, in the current present moment, which is all what mindfulness and meditation is about, you are in the now.
It's hard.
Then everything's okay.
Yeah.
Everything's okay. Like right now, in the now, we're okay. Everything's okay. Not much going on. Everything's all right. You don't know what's going to happen 30 seconds from now. And what happened in the past is done.
But at the same time, everything's connected too. Like at the same time, everything affects one another too.
Absolutely. That is what a lot of people have a very large misunderstanding of what the word karma or kama means in Buddhism. And karma means action, and it is related to the interdependence. One action has causes and conditions that cause another action that then can cause another action. It's you can equate it to like a butterfly flaps its wings on one side of the planet and causes an earthquake on the other. Just everything is interconnected through its causes and conditions. And if you want to create good actions continually to happen, then you need to do good things and create good karma.
I mean, I really feel like universe is a mirror. Like whatever we reflect to it, our thoughts, our energies, our words come back to us. I really believe that. So even world justice doesn't work, I really believe universal justice works. And I've seen it work. Like, people wrong other people and they think they get away with it, but nobody really gets away with anything. We see that in politicians, in world history, we see that in our lives. We see that
well, you'll see karmic chains just, based on decisions that could have happened, eons before. It'll eventually unfold and cause different causes and conditions that can in turn cause different actions and events to happen for various people. So you want to be creating good karmic chains and not
our thoughts and energies are affecting the realities too. I believe in that too. It's not just being peaceful, but we can actually, I personally don't believe there's a destiny, but we do create our destiny. I feel like life is kind of like a choose your own adventure. Right. To a certain degree, it's written, how you're born, how you look, your family. There's certain things you can't control. But at the same time, every choice you make changes your life.
It changes
exactly around you. That famous movie, Life is a Miracle, or what was it? Like Wonderful, that Christmas movie. That's such a good movie showing one guy, if he didn't exist, like how
things would have changed.
Would be different.
And it's true. You're absolutely right. And what the practice is if you can follow just simple guidelines, like having good intentions. If you have good intentions create good thoughts create good actions then will create good karma, good events to unfold. And the other part of the practice is the loving kindness practice and exuding compassion and love and empathy to all beings, because we are all interconnected. And that means, you know, the good and the bad. You have to envelop the world in that positive energy. And that's a very, very important meditation practice that we do as well.
Right now we have 2 minutes left. So before it cuts up, I definitely don't think I just want to do one time with you. I think I'm going to get back to you because I feel like we have too much to talk. This is just the beginning. So if you don't mind, this can be an ongoing thing. If you have time, you can start another session now, but I know it's later over there in Greenville. If you prefer, we can do it another time, but I definitely would like to do this an ongoing thing. It doesn't have to be every week, but I think I have a lot more to talk about. This is
I'm sure we do.
So would you like to do another session or would you like to do it another time?
I lost my clock. It's a school day today. So tonight, tomorrow, whatever. So I have to make sure everybody's settled because I'm going to have to get up very early. So why don't we save it for another time, but I'm pretty much available.
Wonderful. Maybe if you're free, we can even continue next Sunday on a.
Yeah, because we do our meditation. We do a group meditation. Speaking of global energy, we have people from Mexico, people from all over that join our group meditation, and it's really nice. It's nice to have that. You know, we all meditate together for about an hour, and we have discussion and do some different things. But that always runs from 8 to 9 my time. So after that is always a good time.
A little crow here.
Oh,
so it's saying this is gonna about to shut on us. So before it does that, I'm saying goodbye. Good night. Thank you so very much. We'll talk again.
We will. Lots of love to you.
Our souls are connected and we'll always stay connected.
Absolutely. I believe that. And you take care and be well, happy, and free from suffering.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.